Your heart isn't keeping you alive, at least not in the way you think. Right now, this second, your brain is about 4 heartbeats away from completely shutting down. You don't die when your heart stops. Not yet. You enter a strange window where you are still you, still conscious, still aware. For about 10 to 20 seconds, your brain continues to function with the oxygen remaining in your blood. You can think, you can hear, you can even see movement in the room. Then the lights go out. But what nobody tells you is this: your cells don't know your heart has stopped. Not immediately. They continue to work. Your liver is still filtering. Your kidneys are still cleaning. Your skin cells are still regenerating. For a few minutes, your body acts as if it hasn't noticed that the power plant has suddenly shut down. In 2014, a team at the University of Michigan did something crazy. They hooked rats up to an EEG machine and stopped their hearts. What they saw in the last 30 seconds was completely unexpected. The brain didn't silently shut down. It developed suddenly. A wave of electrical activity, more powerful and organized than anything recorded in normal life, swept through the cortex. Some scientists think this could explain near-death experiences. That bright tunnel, that feeling of peace. Your brain, in its final moments, is firing everything it has. But let's rewind. Let's start from the exact moment your heart stops. The first thing that happens is pressure. Blood flow stops, and within 2 seconds, the pressure in your arteries drops to 0. Your body notices. Sensors in your neck, called baroreceptors, start screaming at your brainstem. They're saying, something is very wrong. Your brain tries to correct it. It sends panic signals to your adrenal glands. They release adrenaline into your blood. But there's a problem. Your blood isn't moving. The adrenaline is just sitting there, accumulating in your veins, waiting for a heartbeat that never comes. Meanwhile, your brain is about to run out of steam. The average human brain weighs about 3 pounds. That's 2% of your body weight. But it uses 20% of your oxygen. It's an incredibly expensive organ to keep running, and it has almost no backup batteries. The oxygen dissolved in your blood right now, that's it. That's all you have. 10 seconds pass. You may still be standing. Your eyes may still be open. But inside, your neurons are starting to panic. They need a constant flow of glucose and oxygen to fire. Without them, they can't maintain the electrical charge that keeps them alive. The sodium-potassium pumps, the tiny molecular machines in every cell, start to malfunction. That's when things get weird. Your vision doesn't just darken, it tunnels. Edges disappear first, as if someone is closing a curtain from the outside in. Some people report seeing colors, flashes, patterns that aren't there. This is your visual cortex misfiring as it loses power. 20 seconds, you are unconscious now. But being unconscious doesn't mean ceasing to exist. Your brain is still there, still metabolizing, still struggling. Individual neurons are making their own desperate decisions about how to distribute what's left. Some shut down completely, becoming silent to conserve energy. Others fire frantically in one last burst before darkness falls. And that's where things get strange. Your perception of time can become distorted. There are case reports of people who were revived after cardiac arrest and described conversations they heard and events they heard in the room while they were clinically dead. When doctors checked the timeline, they found that these events occurred 3, 4, or even 5 minutes after their hearts stopped. How is this possible? One theory, your brain doesn't process time the same way when you die. The neurons that normally make you feel the seconds passing cease to function. Time can stretch or compress, or it may not make any sense. 30 seconds after your heart stops, your brain waves begin to change. The normal pattern, alpha and beta waves, the rhythm of thinking and awareness disappears. They are replaced by something slower. Delta waves, the kind you see in deep sleep. But you're not sleeping. Wait a minute. Your cells are starting to sense that something is wrong. Every cell in your body runs on a molecule called ATP. It's like a little battery. Mitochondria, the powerhouses inside each cell, produce ATP by burning oxygen and glucose. but the oxygen didn't come, the glucose didn't come. So your cells go into plan B. They start breaking down glucose without oxygen. This is called anaerobic respiration, and it's incredibly inefficient. Instead of producing 36 ATP molecules from one glucose molecule, only 2 are produced. And the waste product? Lactic acid, the same substance that burns in your muscles when you run. But now it's building up everywhere. Your blood, stagnant in your veins, starts to become acidic. Your pH drops. If you could measure it, you'd see your blood getting more acidic every second. And this acidity starts to damage everything it touches. 2 minutes. That's the edge of the abyss. If your heart starts beating again within the next 60 seconds, you'll probably be fine. Your brain can restart almost everything perfectly. Maybe you'll wake up confused, maybe with a gap in your memory, but you'll still be you. But if we go past 3 minutes, the damage starts to become permanent. Your neurons are incredibly fragile. They are the most delicate cells in your body. When their energy runs out, their membranes begin to break down. Calcium, normally kept outside the cell, begins to flow in, and calcium inside a neuron is toxic. It triggers enzymes that begin to digest the cell from the inside. 3 minutes. Your brain is dying now, not all at once, different regions at different rates. The parts that manage memory, the hippocampus, they go first. Then the cortex, the wrinkled outer layer where you make and experience your thoughts. The brainstem, the old part that controls breathing and heart rate, holds on the longest. But here's the beautiful and terrifying thing. Even now, even 3 minutes later, some of your neurons are still trying. There are cells in your brain that won't give up until the very end. They keep sending signals, firing, even as the network around them collapses. 4 minutes. If someone were to start CPR right now, pressing on your chest enough to get blood flowing through your arteries, maybe you could come back. But you would come back differently. Parts of your memory might be erased. There may be gaps in your personality. The person you used to be may no longer be entirely there. 5 minutes. The medical term for this is biological death. Your heart stopped 5 minutes ago, and even if we restart it now, your brain has been without oxygen for too long. The damage is immense, but your body doesn't know it yet. Your liver cells are still alive. Your skin cells are still alive. Your gut bacteria, the trillions of organisms living inside you, are fine. They don't need your heart. Some don't even need oxygen. 6 minutes. Now we're in a strange area. There are documented cases of people being revived after 6, 7, or even 10 minutes of cardiac arrest. But these are rare. And they usually involve cold water. In 2015, a young man in Italy fell into a frozen stream after the ice broke. His heart stopped. They pulled him out of the water 14 minutes later. He had no pulse. He wasn't breathing. His body temperature had dropped to 79 degrees Fahrenheit. They warmed him slowly and carefully, and his heart started beating again. 2 days later, he woke up. He was perfectly healthy. There was no brain damage. The cold saved him. When your body temperature drops, your brain needs less oxygen, much less. At normal temperature, your neurons are like a city burning energy around the clock. But in the cold, they go into a kind of hibernation. They slow down. They wait. That's why drowning in cold water is different from drowning in hot water. That's why falling into ice in winter gives you a chance that falling into a lake in summer doesn't. But let's go back to room temperature. Normal death. Your heart stopped 6 minutes ago. Nobody's performing artificial respiration, and you're not in cold water. What happens next is collapse. Your cells, deprived of energy, begin to explode. Their membranes dissolve. Everything inside them, proteins, enzymes, and genetic material, spills into the spaces between the cells. Your tissues begin to break down, but not evenly. First your brain goes, then your heart, your liver, your kidneys, your skin and bones. They hold out for hours, even days, 10 minutes. Now there's almost no chance. Even if your heart starts beating, even if blood starts flowing, the damage to your brain is catastrophic. You might breathe again, but you won't wake up. You'll be in what doctors call a permanent vegetative state. Your brain stem works, keeping your body alive, but the parts of you that think, feel, and remember are gone. 15 minutes. Your neurons are dead. Not damaged, dead. Calcium that flooded in triggered a chain reaction of destruction, Enzymes broke down cell membranes. DNA inside the nucleus is breaking down. But here's the strange part. Even now, your body is still making decisions. Your confused and damaged immune system is starting to attack your own tissues. It can no longer distinguish between what is you and what is foreign. The white blood cells that are supposed to protect you are starting to destroy your organs. 20 minutes. Someone trying to revive you now wouldn't save you. They would restart a body. The person living inside is gone. But not all your cells die at the same time. A 2017 study examined gene activity in dead bodies. They found that some genes become more active after death, genes related to stress responses, inflammation, and the immune system. Even hours after the heart stops, some cells are still copying DNA, still producing proteins, still trying to respond to the crisis. 1 hour. Your body temperature drops because there's no heartbeat to circulate heat. You start to adjust to room temperature. Your skin feels cold to the touch. Your lips turn blue, then gray. Lividity begins. Blood that's no longer being pumped settles in the lower parts of your body. If you're lying on your back, it pools along your spine, shoulders, and hips. The skin there turns purplish red. 2 hours. Rigor mortis begins. Your muscles lock up, not from contractions, but from the depletion of their ATP. Look, muscles need energy to relax. When your ATP is depleted, the proteins in your muscle fibers stick together, your jaw tightens, your fingers curl. It starts with your eyelids and moves down. 3 hours. Your gut bacteria, which helped you digest food your entire life, are still alive, and they're starting to spread. Because your immune system isn't keeping them under control, they're migrating out of your gut. They're starting to break down your tissues from the inside. That's the beginning of decay. But let's go back a bit. Let's go back to those first 10 seconds after your heart stopped, to the moment you were still conscious. What was it like? We have testimonies, thousands of testimonies. People who were clinically dead and came back to life. Some describe peace, a feeling of letting go. The fear they felt when their hearts first faltered disappears. They say it didn't hurt. They say it felt like being submerged in hot water. Others describe panic, a helpless animal needing to breathe, to move, to fight, even if its body stops responding. Some describe nothing at all. They say it was like a light switch. One moment they were there, the next they woke up in a hospital without remembering the time in between. So which is true? Maybe all of them. In those final seconds, your brain is in chaos. Neurons fire randomly, neurotransmitters flood synapses. Systems that typically create a coherent experience of reality break down. The experience you have may depend on which parts of your brain are deprived of oxygen first. If your visual cortex goes dark before your frontal lobe, you may feel calm but blind. If your amygdala, the center of fear, dies early, you may feel peace. If your amygdala survives and fills your dying brain with terror signals, you may feel panic. There is no standard death. There is only your death. In 2013, a doctor in Germany did something unusual. He was treating a patient with severe epilepsy, and electrodes were implanted in his brain to monitor seizures. He was 87 years old. While in the hospital, he suffered a massive heart attack. He died, but the electrodes were still recording. For the first time in history, we had a continuous recording of a human brain shutting down. And what they saw was a pattern. When his heart stopped and his blood pressure dropped to 0, the brain waves didn't disappear randomly. They followed a sequence. First, the fast waves disappeared. Beta waves, the waves associated with active thinking. Then alpha waves, a relaxed but alert state. Then theta waves, the dreamlike boundary of sleep. And finally, delta waves, deep, slow, rolling. Then nothing. But before anything, about 30 seconds after the heart stopped, there was a jump, a final surge of gamma waves. High frequency, coordinated activity throughout the cortex. Researchers didn't know what this meant. Some thought it was the brain's final attempt to restart itself, a last struggle for survival. Others thought it was the biological basis of the life flashing before your eyes phenomenon. Your brain, in its final moments, accessing everything at once, or perhaps something we can't yet put into words. What we do know is this: death isn't a moment, it's a process. And where you draw the line when you say someone's gone, that's a choice. Your heart stops, that's cardiac arrest, you're not dead yet. Your brain stops, that's brain death. Most countries define it as death. But your cells don't stop for hours. So when do you die? In 2019, scientists at Yale took pig brains from a slaughterhouse. The pigs had been dead for 4 hours. Their hearts had stopped, their bodies were cold, they were dead by every definition. The scientists connected these brains to a system that pumped oxygenated fluid through blood vessels, and the cells came back to life. Neurons began to metabolize again, synapses began to fire. The brains didn't become conscious, there was no organized brainwave activity. But the individual cells, yes, they came back to life 4 hours after death. This raises a terrifying question: how many people have we buried who weren't completely dead? In the 1800s, this fear was so widespread that people invented safety coffins, coffins with bells attached to ropes. If you woke up underground, you could call for help. There's no evidence that anyone ever did that. But the fear was real. Today, we are more sensitive. We monitor brain activity. We expect the EEG to flatten out. But even that isn't perfect. There are people in deep comas whose brain waves are undetectable and who wake up months later. So we're still guessing. We draw a line in the sand and say, you live on this side, you die on that side, but biology doesn't care about our lines. Here's the reality. You're not one thing. You're not one system that's on or off. You're made up of trillions of cells, each with its own lifespan, each dying and regenerating on its own schedule. Right now, as you listen to this, cells in your body are dying. Skin cells, gut cells, blood cells, millions are dying every second. And you don't feel it, you don't mourn them. When your heart stops, this process only speeds up. Cells die faster, more cells, not slowly, but all at once. But it's the same process. In a way, you're dying throughout your entire life. Every 7 years, almost every cell in your body is renewed. The you that existed 10 years ago, physically, molecularly, ceased to exist. You are not something permanent, but a continuing pattern. And when your heart stops, that pattern breaks. But the part that really strikes me is this: your atoms don't die. They can't die. The carbon in your bones, the iron in your blood, the oxygen you're breathing right now, these atoms date back billions of years. They formed in the cores of dying stars, scattered into space, and eventually came together through gravity to form Earth. And when your heart stops, when your cells disintegrate, when your body returns to the Earth, these atoms don't disappear. They continue. They become part of something else, maybe a tree, a river, another human being centuries later. In that sense, nothing dies. It only changes form. Carl Sagan used to say, we are made of stardust. He was right. But what he didn't say is, we are not just made of it, we borrow it. For a few decades, these atoms become you. They think, they feel, and they wonder what happens when the heart stops. Then they move on. So what happens when your heart stops? You cease to exist. The form that was you, the special arrangement of atoms, electrical signals, and memories, disintegrates. But the atoms remain. The energy remains. The impact you left on the world, the people you touched, the thoughts you shared, these ripple outwards. You don't disappear. You're simply no longer concentrated in one place. And perhaps that is enough.